Welcome to Unjustified, where we always cover the truth, the facts, the good, the bad, the ugly, on an unbiased and sometimes very unpopular opinion. If you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe now and hit the notification bell, and that way you will receive all of our upcoming videos. Thank you so much for being here, and we do hope you enjoy today's video. I've had a few people asking me, have I looked into this case? What do I know about it? To be quite honest, not much. I just started looking into this case like today. And for the last several hours, I have been putting together the most relevant, in my opinion, news articles, news clips, and there's a press release. There's only clips of the press release. I do recommend clicking the link below for the entire press release, because there's a lot of it that YouTube would flag. However, she absolutely goes into complete detail and even shows on the board exactly where this man's wounds were and why he died. There is just a lot to take in that press conference, and it is extremely detailed. You're also going to hear from some of their friends about their opinions about this case, and also some footage of her in court yesterday. In case you have no idea what's going on with this case, this is Courtney Clenney, and she is a social media influencer. She's like an Instagram model, and she goes by OnlyFans. Yesterday, she was charged with the murder of her boyfriend, Christian. Seems that after took her boyfriend's life, she fled to Hawaii, where she currently is at this time. Her attorneys are claiming that this was absolutely self-defense. However, it's really unknown at this point, but from looking at the elevator footage and listening to their friends, she was absolutely the abuser. So after watching these clips that I have put together for you in the piece of the press conference, let me know what your thoughts are so far in this case. We're going to continue to follow it. I believe it's going to be very interesting to follow, seeing that she is claiming self-defense. And as we all know, you can't always judge the things that come to surface first. There's a lot of times there is behind the closed doors things. And there was one neighbor that did kind of put the possibility there that maybe that is the fact. But there again, when you see the elevator footage, you will not feel that way. You will feel she is the abuser. But who knows? Let me know what you think below.
We spoke with a group of friends that knew this couple very well, and they detail a rocky relationship.
It's just heartbreaking. Everyone is just so devastated.
This trio was very close to 27-year-old Christian Obumseli and his girlfriend, who they've identified as 25-year-old Courtney Clenney, an OnlyFans model and Instagram influencer. So when police reported that Obumseli was fatally stabbed by Clenney on Sunday inside their Miami apartment, the friends were left speechless. They portray a very violent relationship at the hands of only one person.
I've seen her hit him. I've never seen him hit her.
Officers say there was a struggle before Obumseli was stabbed in the shoulder. He died at the hospital. Investigators are still trying to figure out what happened and if Clenney acted in self-defense.
From what we've personally experienced between the both of them, we believe that Christian wouldn't put her in a position where she would need to stab him to protect herself.
One neighbor who tells me that he has a very clear view of the couple's apartment said a week before the stabbing, things were off and that Clenney was the one getting physically abused.
I could not tell if it was open-handed or closed-handed, but he was swinging at her.
Police say in the past 3 months, they've responded to multiple disturbance calls at the couple's apartment. Their mutual friends are still trying to process what went wrong.
Even though that we really lost Christian only, it feels like we also lost Courtney at the same time, because we didn't think that this is as far as it would have gone.
And following the stabbing, Clenney was detained. She was brought here to the police department for questioning, and during that process, she was threatening to kill herself. So officers took her to the hospital where she was Baker acted. As it stands at this moment, she has not been charged.
Ms. Clenney will waive her right to an extradition hearing.
Courtney Clenney in court Thursday night in Hawaii, where she was denied bail and will not fight her extradition to Miami for trial. Detectives say Clenney, who was tracked down in Hawaii and arrested just this week, intentionally stabbed the 27-year-old man in the chest with a kitchen knife, while he was unarmed. But investigators say the Instagram influencer turned murder suspect told them a different story. Clenney's attorney tells Local 10 News it is a shame that the state attorney's office is seeking to win this case in the court of public opinion by showing an irrelevant and likely inadmissible video of Courtney in an elevator getting physical. Obumseli was the abuser, the worst kind of abuser. This is a case of self-defense, and the facts that will be presented at trial will prove this.
He's presently under the influence of any drugs, medication, or alcohol. No. You're thinking clearly this afternoon?
Yes.
I have you form me a waiver of extradition. It looks like you signed the form. Did you sign the form?
Oh, yes, I did.
Clenney has been charged with second-degree murder for the death of her boyfriend, Christian Obumseli. Court documents show she allegedly stabbed him more than 4 months ago in Miami, Florida. An autopsy shows the knife struck him in the chest and hit a major artery. Clenney relocated to Hawaii. Big Island police arrested her last week in Lapahoihoi. Today, a Hilo judge denied her release and ordered she be held without bail.
I've been in contact with the state's attorney's office. They're concerned that this defendant has the resources to flee.
Ms. Clenney's location was known to the state of Florida. It wasn't hidden. She was here. There was no thought of flight. To do a no bail warrant, even though this is a very serious charge, I think is unwarranted. She deserves some bail.
Clenney is currently being held at the East Hawaii Detention Center in Hilo. She's scheduled to be back in court September 12th.
Court documents show the couple had a history of domestic abuse. The surveillance video released today shows a physical fight in an elevator just months before Obumseli was killed. You can see Clenney trying to close the doors to the elevator before Obumseli walks in. She then hits him several times, even grabbing onto him. Then he hits her back. And court documents show this wasn't the first time that they'd fought. A neighbor 2 floors below the Miami condo complained about the constant fighting. It got so bad that management stepped in and was looking to evict the couple. Clenney was arrested last July in Las Vegas for domestic battery against Obumseli. The two also broke up just days before the stabbing.
Extradited back to Miami, but today waived her right for an extradition hearing.
The killing of Christian Obumseli on April 3rd, 2022. He died in Unit 2201 of a residence located at 3131 Northeast 7th Avenue in the city of Miami. We are charging 26-year-old Courtney Taylor Clenney with 1 count of second-degree murder in Christian's death. So let's talk about this case. The chief medical examiner of Miami-Dade County determined that Christian's cause of death was a stab to the chest. Christian was stabbed as the knife punctured the subclavian artery in his right chest. Evidence gathered during the investigation of Christian's death showed that since November of 2020, he and the defendant, Clenney, had been involved in an extremely tempestuous and combative relationship. From the apartment elevator building, you will see that on February 21st, 2022 incident, a month after the couple moved into the building. So let's play that video if we could now. That's them entering their apartment. You can see, you will draw your own conclusion, but it certainly appears that the defendant was aggressively attacking Christian. On Sunday, April 3rd, 2022, the day of Christian's death, events started peacefully, with the couple filming themselves with their dogs in the apartment. A key fob for the records showed that Christian left the apartment at 1:15 p.m. and returned about 3 hours later at 4:32 p.m. with sandwiches that he had bought for both of them. So what we've done here now, if you look at the screens, you'll see there a timeline. So at 4:01, Clenney called Christian. Then she goes live on Instagram. And then at 4:33 p.m., she called him again, shortly after posting the video. At 4:33 p.m., Christian walks into the apartment. 10 minutes later, at 4:43 p.m., Clenney called her mother. That call lasted until about 4:49 p.m., just over 6 minutes. At 4:49, Clenney made a second call, almost immediately, to her mother. They spoke until 4:56 p.m., a little over 7 minutes. 4:57 p.m., Clenney calls 911. Christian stabbing must have occurred between 4:33 p.m., when he returned to the apartment with those sandwiches, and at 4:57 p.m., when the defendant, Clenney, called 911. Also, at the same time during that period of time, that being 4:33 p.m. to 4:57 p.m., neighbors began calling the building manager about a disturbance at the apartment. Security called 911 at 4:46, notifying them of the disturbance. 11 minutes later, at 4:57, defendant Clenney called 911 to tell the police that Christian was suffering from a stab wound and needed help. On that 911 call, Christian can be heard in the background repeatedly saying that he was dying and he was losing feeling in his arm. Defendant Clenney is also heard saying, "I'm so sorry, baby." Later, in her what we call post-Miranda recorded statement to the police, defendant Clenney admitted to having caused Christian's injury, also provided several inconsistent accounts about the incident itself. The police observed no visible injuries, which would have corroborated her account, and she had no injuries. The violent and toxic 2-year relationship of Christian Obumseli and Courtney Clenney did not have to end in tragedy with Christian's murder as a victim of domestic violence.
Thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave us a comment below on your thoughts of this video. And until next time, this is UnJustified.